Thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming in, man. It's been a couple years, and it's been an interesting ride, man, since we last talked. And here you are back with a new record called Nightmare. And just tell me about this album. I mean, I think Octane listeners just want to know so much about going into recording this record since losing Jimmy and you know, hooking up with Mike Portnoy and all that. So.
Yeah, well, it's been a long, crazy ride. You know, we're one of those bands that we don't want to put an album out until we're completely satisfied with it, as much as people want to make us hurry up. You know, it's been probably 3 years or something since we had our last record. We toured a lot on the last record. It was really successful for us, and we decided to take some time. I took some time to get married.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so did Sinister Gates.
Yes, I did.
Oh, ladies, they're off the market.
Yeah.
There you go.
Off the market. But basically, you know, we took all summer writing, had a couple shows with Metallica, did a Sonosphere in Europe, did some shows with Maiden, and we just kind of were really, you know, sporadic with our songs and with our shows, and we started writing for the record. And then after my honeymoon in October, we got really, really serious about finishing up the record. At that point, we started working with this guy named Mike Elizondo, who we weren't going to use a producer again, and we had a meeting with this guy, and he was a huge fan, but he could talk to us from everything from old Metallica to Megadeth to all these things we were really into. And he was a hip-hop producer and was working on songs with Dr. Dre and all these things, but he was this metal guy at heart, and he was a great songwriter. So we started working with him for about 8 weeks before we were going to go into the studio. 7 weeks into that, Jimmy passed away, and the record was already finished, being written, not lyrically, but written, you know, in the sense of the music was all done. And then we didn't know what we were going to do. What we were pretty sure we were going to do is just not put out a record and not be a band anymore. Just because it was, obviously, it's our brother, and it just wouldn't feel right doing anything without him. Then we decided that the songs were good enough and that Jimmy was so excited about the record and some of the stuff he left us was so brilliant that we were going to finish the record and then figure out what we were going to do after that. Take baby steps and kind of figure out if we ever wanted to tour again or continue as a band. And so then we started looking at it from the point of view of like, let's just take baby steps and do one thing at a time, whatever feels right. Then, you know, I think it was New Year's Eve. We were watching all these people have a brilliant time in Times Square on TV, and we're just sitting there in the worst misery of our lives. And I brought up the idea to the guys that I think maybe we should look into Mike Portnoy, because he was Jimmy's favorite drummer, and he could play the stuff that Jimmy had laid down on the demos. And we talked to Kelly Sullivan, or Katie Sullivan, actually. Jimmy's sister had the idea that maybe you should finish the record, but have some of his favorite drummers play. And the stuff was complicated enough to where I knew some of his favorite drummers were just not going to be able to pull it off, and it would be this big clusterfuck of figuring out, you know, who's going to play what, getting people in there. And we called Mike, and Mike had been super, you know, involved in what happened with Jimmy. He was sending us stuff and sent flowers to his parents and texting me every day and calling and just being very supportive of us. And when the time came, he was going to do NAMM, and we asked him, we said, you know, would you be willing to help us out with this record? And he was just like, I'll do anything you guys need me to do. It'd be an honor. I want to come down there. And we got him the songs. He was very excited about the songs, and he just started learning all the parts. And so it went from that to going in the studio and trying to capture all the dark, beautiful, great memories, all these things we're trying to capture on the music itself, because we were trying to, you know, like turn this horrible thing into something that people can get something out of in our art. You know, we felt if we waited too long, it would just be wasted. And so we finished the record, and then with Mike, and it was wonderful using. It was like the little bit of light in our dark time, and we really got along with Mike really well. And then he offered to tour with us if we needed someone to tour with. And we decided we weren't willing to go on tour unless it was with Mike. And Mike was like, "Cool, I'll push Dream Theater stuff back until the end of the year, so we can get you guys back on the road and kind of feeling comfortable again." And so, you know, we're not doing any shows until Uproar, because we're just going to try to take some time off and reevaluate everything. But we're excited about doing it with Mike, and that's kind of been the whole process. It's been crazy.
That is definitely a full process. Avenged Sevenfold in studio, and Uproar is happening this summer. Nightmare comes out July 27th. How do you know, are there plans at this point to move forward and find a drummer, or are you just focused right now?
There are no plans to do anything like that. We just want to focus, like he said, on baby steps and stuff. And right now, Mike is the next baby step, and we feel very comfortable getting up on stage with him, and we're definitely really excited about it too. You know, we feel a little guilty admitting it, but yeah, we just want to go reconnect with our fans. I mean, some of these have been like the first interviews, and you know, that's obviously going to be the first time that we're going to perform since a long time, and certainly since, you know, Jimmy's passed. We're just ready to go tell them, you know, how we've been feeling, and tell them the story, and reconnect with them. And so we're really looking forward to that, and we have Mike to thank for it, because without him, it wouldn't feel comfortable.
Yeah, and people don't understand, like, when it first happened, I had people, like, that I'm not really close to, but they're like, so do you guys find a new drummer yet? And it's like, people don't understand that it wasn't 11 years in Avenged Sevenfold. Jimmy was 18 years of best friends. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
When I was, 10, I met that guy or something like that. You know, pictures of when I was, we were in 5th grade, you know, like, and so it's not like a drummer to us. It's obviously way
It's your
more.
brother.
Yeah, it's our
It's
brother.
your brother.
And the band, it wasn't ever set out to be, let's be in this big band. It was set out to be, we're all best friends. We all grew up together. Let's play music, and this is what happened. So we're reevaluating everything is obviously on the table, because we're all closer together now, the 4 of us, obviously through this, and we wouldn't want to not play music together, because who else are we going to play with? But it just is really difficult moving on without that guy.
Yeah. I'm sure. And Jimmy also won Best Drummer for the Golden Gods this year too, and I think that's airing on MTV.
VH1
MTV
Classics,
or VH1 Classics,
on the 22nd, right?
22nd, yes, this weekend. So people can check it out, and his family was there to accept the award,
Yeah,
which was
that was pretty cool.
very cool that they were there. Let's get into a track, and then we'll talk a little bit more, and maybe even debut a new song too, right?
Cool.
All right, on.
Maybe.
All right. Avenged Sevenfold, Eternal Rest, right here on Octane.